Hey, it's good to see this crowd. I never thought I could pull out this video. It's good to see you. Hey, you speak more than this speak to me. Well, I thank you for coming today, and I want to especially thank Barrett. He's done most of the work getting this together, and I want to thank my family, two daughters and mom for fixing the food like that. Yeah. You know, this is probably going to be a different speech from maybe y'all never heard. If you want to call it that. You know, I thought about a subject that would be interesting to you and all y'all, and I decided on how I got to France. Here's what I want to do. I want to include all of y'all in this. See, well, you ever heard that before? I want you to go along with me on this journey. The first step was I turned 18. When I turned, that means all of y'all turned 18 when I did. In April of 44. In the 40s, when you were born and turned 18, we all got a letter from the draft board that said, you have been selected by your friends and neighbors to serve in the armed forces of the United States. I don't know who the friends and neighbors were. Several months later, I was drafted into the U.S. Army at Fort Jackson, Columbia. Have any of y'all ever been down to Fort Jackson in Columbia, in the summertime?
Hottest place on earth.
It's hot. It's hot in South Carolina, but in Columbia it's very hot.
More like a fire.
Pardon?
More like a ring of fire.
All right, that's about what it is. Okay, we were down there, and that was before the day of air conditioning. I don't really know how we cooled off. I guess we just got it out. It was really hot. And after I spent a time down there, they examine you. That's an experience, I'll tell you. As you stand around, my wife said, don't know it, don't tell it, but when you stand around buck naked, there's a bunch of meat. That's just the way it was, and say next, you go up. Anyway, I'm getting off the stool. I said, we, not me. All in this too, witnesses. And the popular songs down there was, now you think about it now, we all 18 and we're down in Columbia and we hear this song, A Soldier's Last Letter. Y'all know it? Anybody know that song? You don't know that? Well, she knew that her son had died. That was the name there, Don't Fence Me In. I know y'all heard that one. Anyway. In basic training, I'm got to help myself. And they then they sent us up to Fort Bragg. And this was a staging area. That's where they sent us up to Fort Bragg from Fort Jackson. Then we went up to Fort Bragg in North Carolina. And from there, we were all shipped to Camp Wheeler in Macon, Georgia. I don't think it snowed in Macon, Georgia before or since then. It snowed down It was cold as crowd, I'll tell you. In basic training, I met soldiers from all over, we met soldiers from all over the country. We met them from all over the country. And, back then, we'd never been more than 40 miles from home. That's because I think we had been to Columbia one time. And we had never met people of other religions or any Yankees. I don't guess they didn't fit any Southerners either, but anyway. We soon adjusted to each other and finished basic training in December of '44. We were given a leave of 5 days to lay en route from Camp Wheeler to Camp Shanks, New York, so we could go overseas. And that went pretty good. See, I spent Christmas Day, 1944, we did on a troop train from Macon, Georgia to to our homes. And then eventually there, and we went home to Newberry. After staying home, we went to Greenville, North Carolina, where we assembled, loaded on a train, and shipped to Camp Shanks, New York. Now, I was up in the middle of Yankee country now. I'm in New York. We were in New York. There was a train that ran from the camp to New York City, so we visited New York City several times. I know one time up there, I saw Joe Lewis, we saw Joe Lewis, and he was sitting at the table reading the paper. But he was still the champion then. Now, the people in New York were kind to soldiers, even to Southerners, you know. They were pretty nice to us. Okay, after a few weeks, we were assigned to a group that was headed to Europe. One morning, we fell out before daylight and were taken down to the pier to board a ship to Europe. Now, this was our first sighting of Queen Mary. Now, that's a big boat. You know? That's a big boat, it never was. But anyway, we, let me see where I'm at now. As we were the first ones loaded, we were assigned to the sun deck. We were also assigned to anti-aircraft guns on the Queen. Now, I'll go there. I was assigned to a 20mm gun along with the British soldier who knew how to operate the gun. That's the first one I ever saw. I was supposed to be the loader. He was the shooter and I was the loader. But you laugh at me now. I can't figure out how we loaded that gun. Okay, after we got loaded up, we went across the Atlantic. It took 5 days. It was uneventful, except for 3 things. I remember the weather was real cold, the water was rough, the waves washed up on the bow, and luckily I was never seasick. You know, long as the boat rocked this way, you don't get too sick, but if it gets doing this, that's a different story. I think you see. And we ate in what was called a swimming pool of the Queen Mary. The one thing that I remember on the menu was boiled eggs. I think they fed them good for breakfast, dinner, and supper. And that's the British had boiled eggs. I guess there was other things on the menu. The one I do remember the boiled eggs pretty good. The British soldier that was with up on the bow of the ship, he shared his tea with me. Now tea will warm me up, you know, after a while. But he was a good fellow. We didn't encounter any enemy aircraft, and the word was we could outrun any submarine. I'm glad we could do both. We made it safely across and docked on the west coast of Scotland. They were loaded on a troop train and shipped across the country to England. Now, one thing I remember about that trip was seeing these young fellows. They was about that high, and they had that gas mask, you know, on their shoulder. I don't guess they ever had to use them, but they had them just in case. But I saw several of them had gas masks. I did see a lot of I didn't see a lot of damage to the countryside in England. And, well, the troop train, they traveled some at night, so, you know, we just didn't see a lot. Maybe they didn't bomb too much out there. I never did get into a big county in wait a minute, let's see where I'm at now. I don't want to get us lost. Oh. If you put that page, that's not, okay. Okay. All right, now we went across England and to Southampton, over on the other side. We loaded and boarded small boats for our trip to France. I saw a few bugged out buildings in Southampton, not too many, you know, there was. But when we arrived at La Havre, France, I did see what war was all about. I had seen movies that bombed and destroyed cities, but the actual sight was a shock. I got to see, I did not see a standing building in La Havre. Rubble was waist high along the streets, and I never did see any people that I guess they got out. If they didn't, they should have. Okay, in La Havre, we were loaded on train boxcars, 40 by 8. Now, 40 by 8 means you could carry 40 men and 8 horses in the boxcar. Didn't have no windows. I don't think it had a place to sit down. You sat out on the floor. And it was really tough finding a place to sleep at night. We left the door always open so we could see the countryside. As I remember, France was a beautiful country, and the people always waved as we went by. They stopped once a day in Paris, and when they did that, the local people would come out and greet us. Most of us were housewives. Most of the people were housewives, children, or older men. The women kept talking about the Bosch. Now, does anybody know what the Bosch was? Down to the the Germans, that's right. And they always said the Bosch are coming back. And talked about the Germans, and they were afraid of them. You know, they were afraid they would come back. They were born. We tried to assure them that the Germans would not come back. Now the train stopped in isolated areas so we could have some personal time, as there were no toilet facilities in the boxcar. And if we got to Herleshine, France, they split us up and assigned us to different units. I was assigned to the I Company in the 36th Infantry Division. And that's where the real war started. And there we are. That's how we got to France. I hope y'all enjoyed the trip. Like I say, the French were pretty good with us. They had seen a hard time with the crap. I mean, the Germans in there, they had occupied them for what, 2 or 3 years? I don't know how long. They had a hard time. Well, that's about our trip. I hope you enjoyed it. Appreciate y'all all coming out today. I didn't know whether we'd be able to draw a crowd or not. Pretty good. Not all right. Okay. I hope I'm gonna fix it, turn it back over to Baron. And hey, I'll tell you, I've got a lot of nephews and nieces here today. They're around. Okay. That's it.
Thank you.